Hello everyone, my name is Sneha Tulluri and I'm a student speaker for TEDxIARE. So firstly, I'd like to talk about my life, but about how nature and nurture inflicted in my life. So nature versus nurture is nothing but a topic that diversifies between people's perspectives and also their experiences. Likewise, in my life, nature has given me a few problems, be it emotionally, psychologically, and physiologically. Every hurdle that I think I overcame lied another that was very hard to jump over. But it was with paramount conviction that led me to seek the nurture side of things and to work on myself. I started to improve my skill set. I started to change my lifestyle and also inculcate good food habits throughout my life and one step at a time. There's a saying that an illiberal man with power can destroy an entire nation, whereas a man with power, with perseverance, can build an empire. Based on this, our actions have consequences that ripple through time and forge the way that we lead life. Let me explain this with a small little example where a little girl gets influenced by the solar system. There was this little girl who had to create a project about the solar system. What she started to consider was she took thermocol balls and hung them on a clothes hanger. She started to paint each and every sphere with the respective colors of the planets. She read the encyclopedia and read all about the planets in our solar system. She started to jot down all of the points of each and every planet on small little cards and stick them on the planets that she created with the thermocol spheres. With this, we can see how she got influenced by the solar system to create that project and use her creativity. With this, she started to increase her enthusiasm to learn about the solar system and also arise with different kinds of thoughts about it. Based on this, we can see how she got influenced. Let's go back in time, and I want to emphasize on our theme today, nature versus nurture. I want to talk to you about what the true meaning of nature versus nurture is. It is that our actions can shape our surroundings. Let me explain this with a very interesting example. How many of you like history over here? Ancient history? I see a few hands up. Okay, that's good. So ancient history. There was a Heike battle that took place in 1185, long time ago. It happened in Danohara, Japan. This was renowned to be one of the most important battles known to mankind. And in this battle, many of the samurais were the most preeminent war caste that fought during this battle. Today, in the Danohara sea coast, we can see many crabs have unique indentations on their carapace, in which their carapace is nothing but the shell on the crab. And they have unique indentations on them. But what are these indentations? Why were they so unique? They were the indentations of the faces of these samurais that fought in the battle. The residents of Danohara considered this as a worship ritual, and they started to inculcate a live and a let live relationship with these indented crabs, while leading to the other crabs with plain carapaces as sources of food, leading to the abundant population of these indented crabs. But the residents of Danohara could have taken this in another way. They could have taken this as ancient folklore and catch crabs irrespective of their indentation. But because of this, because of their decision, it led to their existence to flourish. Based on this, we can see how our actions change and depict or shape our surroundings, be it for the worst or be it for the best. Let me take this moment to talk about a very important or a very sensitive matter in my phase in my life. And I don't want people to get emotional. If you do, it's not going to be emotional, but yes. It was about my father's demise. It happened in January 17, 2011. I was 10 years old, and my father was admitted in the hospital for 3 months straight. My mother went to the hospital every day and night. She would take care of him and give him all his needs. And I was residing at a family friend's place while my mother went to the hospital every day to take care of my father. One day, my mother approached me and she told me that your father is no more. For a 10-year-old, I was in a trance. I didn't know what was going on, and I didn't even realize that it was happening and if everything was real. I was numb from head to toe. I had no emotions. I couldn't even shed a tear, and I didn't know why. Sooner or later, my mother took the decision that we moved to India. Based on this decision, it wasn't the best respite that I hoped for, but it has changed me a lot. And I started to speak Telugu fluently and also get used to the culture in India. I can say losing a loved one can leave a dent on one's soul, but this dent can morph us into a person who values life. My father's passing has taught me the value of life and the value of a loved one. And it has taught me that I needed to take care of my mother and I needed to be more responsible at the age of 10. In our early years with my mother, when we moved to India, my mother started to arise with various health problems. We got to know that she has a congenital heart disease. And also, we got to know that she has hypertension. She used to have frequent episodes from time to time. And since me and my brother, I was 10 years old, and my brother was 12 years old, we didn't know what to do when my mother was in that situation. So we rushed to the hospital. When we rushed to the hospital, they gave her various medications and everything, and I didn't even know why they were doing that. Slowly, me and my brother started to understand why my mother was like that and what happened to her and what to do during those situations. It was a compulsion to learn about my mother's disease. And I can say this is the nature part of which that I learned. My father's passing has taught me to be more responsible, more independent. And my mother's health problems have taught me that I needed to be more responsible in life. This was a major turning in my life that made me be more responsible and independent from a young age, which was 10 years old. Let me fast forward to 2014, where a new set of health problems arose for me. As you know, a person who comes from USA to India would obviously have a low immunity system. And for me, I had a very low immunity system. I had hypothyroidism and also a benign tumor. I was mostly desolate during my teens, very desolate. I had symptoms of being depressed, emotional, nervous, and all of that you can name of. I hated my appearance, I hated my actions, and I hated my behavior. All of my confidence went downhill, and I didn't know what I was doing with my life. I was hooked that I couldn't change myself, and that this was me. I can't change, and I can't do anything about it. Let me talk to you about a phase in my life that made me feel very glum. It was in April 2018, where I underwent my first surgery for my benign tumor, which you can see right here, and it's still there. After my surgery, the doctors told me that there is a chance that your benign tumor can reoccur again, which the exact same thing happened. Before my surgery, I was very happy and I was very confident that I would start to get better and all of my problems would just vanish away. But turns out that road didn't lead that way. Later on, I started to feel even more depressed, that I couldn't do anything and everything was out of my grasp. I couldn't change myself. I started to avoid social confrontations, even with the people that I used to talk to on a daily basis. But one day I changed because of the soothing words of my mother and also the motivation to work on myself. My mother told me to overcome all of your struggles and to accept it, work on it. Life is always hard and you need to encounter such situations in your life. It's not the end of the world that, yes, I'm not feeling well and yeah, that's my life. I can't do anything about it. Whereas I could, but I didn't just think about it. It wasn't on my mind that I could change. I had the thought in my mind that if surgery couldn't cure me, then what would? And for me, I started to introspect into my health ailments. I started to surf the web day and night and I would find methodologies in order to help myself. A few of them were successful, whereas a few of them showed no difference. But I do note, I started to get better. Everything started to change. My thyroid levels came to a normal level. And I started to feel better. My body felt better. My mind felt better. I started to be more confident. Everything changed from that moment. And the one step that I took to change myself, the decision that I made to change myself, has made me into a person who can make my own decisions and know what to do if I face a problem. This was a major turning point in my life. And it was a phase which made me feel very low. Very low. But because of this, I learned a lot of life values and I can say it has helped me a lot. Now, enough of the sad stuff. We're going to move on to a phase in my life that really brought me confidence and the enthusiasm to learn about something, which was astronomy. I was fascinated by astronomy ever since 11th and 12th grade. The gravitation chapter in 12th grade made me so fascinated by the gravitational laws and also the planetary motions. My most favorite astrophysicists are Neil deGrasse Tyson, Carl Sagan, and Hakeem Oluseyi, and also Stephen Hawking. I started to learn about each and every astronomical phenomenon, and each and every one fascinated me. I started to read the Cosmos book by Carl Sagan, which was a fascinating book that had a lot of concepts within it that I have never heard of. And I can say Carl Sagan was way ahead of his time. With this, I started to gain the passion in order to pursue astronomy as a career by doing BSc Physics. But we all know that we wanted to be on the safe side, so we go to the BTech route. After finding out what I really like, what I'm really fond of in my life, which is astronomy, it started to make me feel contented. I took pride in knowing that I loved astronomy. I started to take this confidence and apply it to the various opportunities that I had in my life, which I'll talk about one opportunity that I availed. In my 11th and 12th grade, I was super anxious to go up on a stage and talk about anything, be it an introduction about myself, or a jam session, or an elocution. I was scared to go up there and talk about myself. I would start making excuses to bail out of the situation. I have to go to the washroom. Oh no, I'm feeling sick. I think I'm gonna throw up. Please, I just want to leave. All of these kind of excuses. But all of that changed since my BTech first year. We had a seminar period in our BTech where I took this opportunity and took the topic about wormholes. And I wanted to talk about it. I took the leap to start talking in public. Once I approached the stage in front of my class, talking about wormholes, I started to feel more interested in talking about wormholes rather than being anxious and scared. At that moment, I realized that astronomy or any astronomical phenomenon really gives me the confidence to talk about anything and to not be fearful in public speaking, as like how I am right now. I started to get so fond of astronomy very fervently. So I started a podcast. I started to talk about all of the astronomical phenomena in space and also some of my own theories that I wanted to talk about, and I talked about it in my own words. I got a lot of good reviews from my podcast, and that ignited a passion within me to do more. Based on this, I have inculcated a huge amount of critical thinking. I started to frame ideologies about astronomy. I started to write research papers about these ideologies by thorough research about everything. And I still have these research papers with me. I started to refine my podcast as the episodes progressed. And also, I started to do well in my academics. I don't know what the future might hold for me, but I can say that astronomy will always be a part of me. And it has brought me confidence, happiness, and also the willpower to move forward. Little did I know that the little girl who made a project about the solar system would be standing here right before you talking about her life, my life. From the thorns on the stem to the petal on the roses, her life was as crucial as the birthing of the universe. Stepping over what I used to trip on is a phrase that I always think about whenever I'm encountering struggles in my life. And it also makes me remember of all of the struggles that I did face in my life. I can say that each and every person is unique in their own way, and they have their own struggles. But the decisions that you make in your life can change you into a person and make your surroundings or make your life into something that you want to lead and you can feel proud of. Just like the speakers that we had over here, each and everyone's story is so unique, and so is yours. And I want you to make it unique, lead your own life, make your own world. I am proud of the person who I am today, and I can say that I want to be a more versatile person in the future. Thank you. Always being better, Sneha.